back to Loc'd N Love, episode number 10, baby. Double digits. It's your boy June from Harlem, of course. Once again.
To that.
Very much so.
Welcome back, everybody. This is your Krystal. Y'all know where I'm from.
Yeah, we do. We really do. I'm going to start here before we go any further. I'm getting tired of people disrespecting one of my people.
What?
That goes by the name of Bow Wow.
What?
Yeah, I'm getting sick of people disrespect. Put some respect on Shad Moore's thing.
Where did this come from? Where did this come from?
I had a conversation when I was down in Florida about, I think they had gave Bow Wow the beat for John. The Lil Wayne song.
Okay.
But they was asking like what Lil Bow Wow would have did with it. He would have murdered it.
I guess.
Or unalived it. I'm sorry. Unalived it. Make sure. Can't take that off. It's already gone. How was your weekend?
My weekend actually was very quiet and relaxing. I didn't do nothing. You were gone. And I had an appointment in Charleston.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Man, so went on down to Florida. Didn't know that Jacksonville, Florida, is divided into quadrants. You got your Northside, your South, whatever. But the common thing that people said is don't go on the North side.
Oh, don't go north?
They said don't go on the North side. I'm like, well, what's so wrong with the North side?
So you went on the North side. You went on the North side. You just hard-headed. You do whatever you want to. So why did you go? What did you see?
Well, I was looking for something.
Is that?
Duval County once you get to a certain part out there. But
okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm riding because I'm hungry. It's like 2 a.m.
Yeah. You got my daughter with you?
Why are we even...
Okay, go ahead.
Why is that important?
I mean, I made it back safely, so go ahead, carry on.
So we go to Jenkins. First I had to use the bathroom. Cause he's like, dang, Daddy, you gotta pee again? I'm like, yeah. I drunk a lot. It was hot in Florida. It was like 98 degrees.
Mm.
To come back here Monday and it was like, what, 60? 67?
Oh, where did that come from?
I don't know.
Okay, but go ahead.
So I'm trying to go in the gas station to use the bathroom. Man, stop me before I even get out of the car. Hey, I fixed the headlight for you. I'm like, that was 2 o'clock in the morning. Why are you trying to listen fixing my headlight?
At that point, that would have been my cue to leave.
Man, so you look across the street.
The south side.
You look across the street and it's a club over there. But literally, if you look dead across the street, unalived, I'm sorry. It's an alley, and you can see, like, the stuff you see on TV, the people moving, the crackheads and all that. Man, but when I tell you Checkers had my food like that, to say that I had special ordered food, man.
Yeah, my baby.
Oh, you still on that?
Are you kidding? And I told you when I got off that phone. Okay. All right. You stayed, that was where your hotel was at?
No, my hotel was down. But that wasn't really. They had a free jazz festival.
I can't. You are supervisor. Because you be roaming.
Yeah.
Roaming. Okay, they had a jazz festival.
They had a free jazz festival.
You went to the jazz festival?
I stayed too far. I didn't even book my hotels properly because I was like all over places I had never heard of. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But Janelle Monáe was there Saturday night. Free concert. And the Roots was there Sunday.
In the city.
Yeah, Jacksonville, Florida. Free Memorial Day every year, man.
Okay, well, I'm glad you enjoyed your weekend. Mine was very relaxing.
I went to the graduation down there. That season has officially kicked off.
Yes.
600 students. 600 students.
High school.
In that class.
Speaking of graduation, I just seen something that said class of 2025 made history because they're the largest class that's graduated in history.
From where?
No, like globally.
Oh.
Class of 2025 is the largest globally class to graduate. That is a big deal because I got a baby graduating this year. So excited.
That time has come, but 600 kids though. Whew. And they had a graduation 8 o'clock at night.
They did have it at night. What time did y'all get out of there?
I left after they called their name. It wasn't really a need for me to stay because I didn't know it. Well, wow. Yeah. It was a lot. I had traffic. 600 kids. That's like 1,800 people.
That's kind of disrespectful, though.
What?
Getting up to leave in the middle of the graduation.
Krystal. Really?
People trying to hear their baby name and you ruffling through the chairs and carrying on.
That's what you got out of that.
So when they call your baby name, you going to stay or you going to leave?
I got more people that I know in this class, though.
Listen,
I got W, I got A's. I don't know nobody with a Z, but A to W was at least. That's
going to be a nice little...
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so this week right here, we do not have a local shout-out.
What?
Yeah. I told people to put it in the comments, but nobody did it, so...
So no local shout-out?
No local shout-out, but we do have email.
Oh, so we're going
to
fan mail.
Yeah.
I didn't know nothing about this, y'all, so this is my first time. Fan mail.
This our first fan mail letter is coming from Harlem's Globe 84. What's good, Big Dame? I've been checking your show and I love it, B. I heard you was in the city earlier.
Oh, you sitting there lying. Oh, you had me. Oh. Okay. Go ahead, finish with your life. Are you serious? You can't even finish because you know it. Carry on. Let's introduce our special guest because you're telling the story.
I got to feed this time. Hold on. Why you ain't get at me, son? Kyle, Barrett.
All that.
Can you stop
Okay.
this?
This is perfect. Come on.
I can't.
So it was a lie? All that was what? And your producer there entertained too. Wow.
I'm finished. Nah.
Come on and introduce our special guest so we can.
So again, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we finally have our special guest, Estella Rogers from right here in Jacksonville.
Estella Rogers.
Hey man, you been supposed to hit that bit, right?
Welcome. Come on.
Yeah, producer, he gonna edit all this. I promise you.
Welcome.
I finally made it to the table.
Thanks for coming.
Hey, you want to introduce yourself to the people?
Sure. So my name is Estella Rogers.
What's your name?
Estella Rogers.
Okay.
I am a licensed clinical social worker, a registered play therapist supervisor, certified Gottman therapist, and a Christian counselor. So I currently own Without Limits Counseling Services here in Jacksonville, North Carolina, where we provide mental health services for the community and for the community, schools, and for individuals and couples. So
don't leave our eggs up now. Don't you leave it out.
I am also a restaurant owner, Eggs Up Grill in Jacksonville, North Carolina. So yes, I have partnered with 4 others, and it's a beautiful journey so far.
Yeah. Big deal. Welcome.
Yes, thank y'all for having me.
No problem.
Excited.
So let's get to
it, because
why did you choose to practice here in Jackson?
So because unlike my dear friend over here, I am very proud of where I come from. So I am from Jacksonville, born and raised, and so one of the things for me was that it was just really important that I was here and I provided what we needed mental health wise for our community. And a lot of people don't necessarily want to come back and be in Jacksonville. Obviously, I have family here and everything like that. But there are not a lot of Black therapists here, let alone Black practice owners. And so it was really just a big deal for me to be able to come back and give back to the community, but also allow our children, our adults, couples to see providers that look like them, because you don't get that a lot.
First choice? Like you wanted to come back to Jacksonville? Or?
No, for sure not. My first choice was actually to travel and be a traveling social worker. It was my first choice. However, the baby bump and the first child made that not happen. Slowed it down just a little bit, and then family and just wanting to raise my family here. And of course, the love of my life had something to do with that as well. So we just decided that we were going to stay here, raise our family, and then everything else.
Traveling cross your mind.
She talking about Butch. Say that man name before you try to
I have my love of my life, Sammy Lee Rogers III, is the love of my life.
Oh, Butchie.
Yes. So, no, traveling still crosses my mind every once in a while. So, I do go to California every once in a while for the 2 weeks to a month. Get some of that money. It is different. It's different because when we go, we work 12-hour shifts. 5 days a week, and we are working around the clock. Whether it's and everybody's in different sections. So either you're doing like case management or therapy, but we are covering for other individuals that are on strike. And so we just kind of fill in until they figure out, what they're going to do on the business side of things. But we just make sure that the clients are still covered. So it is actually a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Do you feel like children should rely on their parents when dealing with tough times or seek outside help?
So honestly, I do believe that parents should be their first person that a kid should be able to rely on when it comes to things that they need to talk about. The question is, can a parent actually be relied on to talk to and to provide your child with what they need in return, right? And so if the parent can have conversations with their child, then absolutely that should be the first space that they go to. But if the child can't talk to their parents, then the hope is that there are outside resources that have been identified. So, and I think that's important. So as parents, you should have people in your kid's life that you can say, this is my village, or these are the people that you go to talk to when you're in trouble. So that your kid has somebody. And so you kind of like make sure that you help them though identify those people, because sometimes you'll be like, oh, go talk to the school counselor if you need something. Well, what if your kid isn't comfortable talking to the school counselor, right? So you have to actually sit down with your child and say, if you can't come and talk to me about this or about whatever situations, who can you go and talk to? Find out from them who they feel comfortable talking to. And then at least that when they have issues, they're going to someone that you actually trust and not just anybody, because it does matter. But again, as parents, are you actually approachable? Can your child come and talk to you about the hard things? And we have to do a better job of making that space. Yeah. I'll tell you, we called it a blue talk at the middle school. So basically it was kind of like a red table, but it was a blue table. And they called in all of the 8th graders. So I did like about 4 classes, myself and 2 other community individuals. And every class, the kids raised their hand. And I'm going to say about 75% of them said they couldn't talk to their parents. And they felt like their parents didn't understand them. And they weren't approachable.
As a parent, how do you make that space like available? I guess my question is like, how do you let them know that
it's okay? Yeah. So I think 2 things. So one, I'll use me as a personal example. So one thing that me and my youngest son do is like he'll say, "Mom, I need my therapy mom." Right. So he just kind of came up with a name for it. But when he says therapy mom, then I know that, not to say that my mom hat goes off, but this means that I need to sit down and I need to listen. And I can't answer him with, judgment in that moment. Like, I actually need to listen and understand, because we seem to forget that we were all teenagers at one time. And the things that we did and the things that we dealt with, like, most of us didn't go to our parents. I know I didn't.
Right.
And had I had a mom that I could go and talk to, then all the stuff that I actually went through, I probably wouldn't have went through. So you can actually say to them, hey, when you want to talk to me, about certain things or clearly, then I need you to kind of just say, hey, I need my, I don't know, cool dad or whatever, what I'm saying, whatever you want to call it, my approachable dad.
Right.
But you can do that. And then, like I said, the other thing is just remember, who do you want your child to be taught by? Like, so if your kid comes to you and say, hey, dad, like, I smoked something the other day. Are you going to answer him and be like, you did what? Like, you about to be grounded? Or are you going to say, okay, let's talk about that. Like, tell me what you did, where you did it, who you did it with, how did you feel, what did you smoke, what did you do? Let's have this conversation, because guess what? It already happened. So are we going to talk about it, and I'm going to teach you what you don't need to do, or I'm going to ground you, and then now
you don't want to tell me nothing.
You ain't going to come talk to me about nothing.
Who should approach who?
I think it should be both. Right? So if you notice something is going on with your kid, and not even if you notice it, one of the questions that came out of the workshop, so I also did a workshop with parents, and one of the questions that came out was, what's the biggest challenge your child is facing right now? And the parents that were in the class, they were like, first they were saying things and they were like, I don't really know. So they went home and asked, and I did the same. I actually went home and asked mine. And the answer that I gave myself, that I thought, was not the answer. So as parents, we actually need to approach our kids and say, what are you actually dealing with? Like, what are your friends like? What's going on with your friends? What's going on? Like, ask them the question. So then now they know, oh, okay, I can come and talk to you about what such and such did, or the fact that I'm dealing with social media issues, or, peer pressure, or whatever it is. Like, I can come and I can talk to you because you made it okay. So we got to be approachable.
Okay. So what are some signs that aren't as obvious when it comes to people around you that you need to watch out for?
So I think when it comes to looking at like signs, so one, when they change, like, so when you're looking at, like, you're normally like talking to somebody like all the time, like maybe we calling each other all the time, and then all of a sudden you are a little more quiet, or you're not calling me as often. A lot of times people will say, oh, well, life is just lifing. Like, that's why I ain't called you, because life is just lifing. But at the end of the day, I know you, right? I know who you are. And I know exactly, right? So I know, and I've even done that to you before. I'd be like, hey, I ain't heard from you. Like, I might be busy, but I know when I haven't heard from somebody. And so you just do a check-in, like, hey, no, how are you really doing? Like, what's going on? You ask like those open-ended questions. What's been going on in your life? So I think looking at mood swings, are they real irritable all the time? Are they frustrated? Like, are they snapping over little things? And you just feel like, especially like even with couples or with your kids, like, it's like, well, I just asked you a little question. Like, why are you acting all like that? Oh, you laughed. All right. So, I mean, that means that there's something happening if you're upset about just these things, right? Changes in friends. So even with your kids, if their friends change, and you just notice that, wait a minute, you're not hanging out with such and such no more. 9 times out of 10, that means something is happening. Either something happened, something is going on, but something is wrong. So why are you not hanging out with such and such anymore? So I think just being observant of changes that happen within their lives, or changes in their behavior. And then when you see those things, then you just, you address it.
Okay.
What is some advice you would like to share about dealing with grief or tough losses?
So the first thing that I will say is nobody grieves the same. Right? And there's no, we have books that talk about grief, and but everybody's grief looks different because your relationship with that person looks different. Right? So if somebody loses, and I'm gonna even say pets, right? Somebody could lose a pet, but their dog was outside its whole life. So I'm going to be sad that it passed away. But at the end of the day, I'm probably not going to be crying every day. But then somebody else might have lost their pet. Well, that pet might have been their best friend. And so they crying every day. And it's like, to somebody else, it might be like, but that was your dog. Yeah, but that was my best friend. Mm-hmm. So I think it's really, number one, being able to say, like, everybody's grief looks completely different. And we have all of these like ways that we say, oh, you're going to go through this, you're going to go through that. But the truth of the matter is, you're going to be angry at some points. You're going to be sad at some points. And you have to allow yourself to feel that. Like, you have to allow yourself to go through that. So if you need to withdraw from people for a little while, safely and healthily, go and feel that. Like, if it is day and you're like, I don't want to go to work today, it's okay. Don't go. And then find a support person, find somebody that you can talk to about what you feel. And there's no solution to it. Like, that's one thing that I always say, like, people always say, well, I don't know what to say to that person. I don't know what to do. You don't. Just be there. Just let them talk and just be there. And if they want a hug, then you give them a hug. If they want to go for a walk, if they're angry, then you may say, well, where can we go so you can relieve this anger? Right? So again, is it going for a walk? Do I need to take you to the boxing club place and let you hit the what is that thing called? Hit the bag for a little bit, right? Do I need to take you to the splatter and rage room? Right? Go so you can go and throw the paint around or do whatever. Do I need to take you outside just to scream? Like, do you want to just go outside and yell at God and yell at the world and yell at everybody outside safely because you are mad? And it's okay. And sometimes we try to tell people you shouldn't be like that. You shouldn't act like, no, I'm mad. Like, I'm lost whomever. No, I am upset. It's okay. But we need to take that anger, we need to take those feelings, and we need to put it somewhere safely. Journal, write about it, whatever that may be. But you need to find a way to, in a healthy way, process through that. Right?
So you crying over Caesar or not?
I'm crying over Caesar.
Caesar's in the house.
Caesar's in the house. Caesar's in the house. Like, I cried over all the folks. I did. I cried over all the folks. Are you crying over what's your dog? Bear? Are you crying over Bear?
Nah, probably not.
You and Bear have a love-hate relationship.
Not invested in stuff. No.
Yeah, he'd be upset.
You'll be a little sad.
He'd be different.
You'll be sad.
Because you go home on lunch break to take him out. Do all that.
He gotta get okay.
Yeah, you'll be sad.
Everybody else at school and work. Next question. How has the overall climate changed for mental health in the last 20 years?
Well, number one, to be honest, this wouldn't be happening. Right? Before, and we know back in the day, it was what happens in this house stays in this house. Like, you're not talking to anyone about what's happening in this house. Kids that with ADHD or, whatever behavior disorders you may have. No, that kid was just bad.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that kid, he just didn't listen, And so before, and we didn't know any better. Honestly, we didn't know any better. Now, the trouble now is actually people talk about it too much, and the wrong people are labeling. I mean, everybody's a narcissist. Everybody has ADHD. Everybody is neurodivergent. Like, it's like let's pull it back just a little bit and make sure that we're actually diagnosing people appropriately, right? So I just think that through the years, and then also for the Black community, for sure, like, I mean, it is completely different. Like, one, we actually have options. So a lot of people don't know, like, you can go to therapy virtually within your state. So even if you don't have a therapist that you feel represents you or looks like you in your city, like, you have the whole state. So you can go find anybody because my therapist is all the way in Charlotte. I see her every 2 weeks. I'm a therapist with a therapist. Let me be clear. But I see her every Monday at 2:00 every 2 weeks. Okay? But she's in Charlotte. Right? And so being able to have options, again, we now have male therapists that are Black. There's male support groups like online. And for men to come into therapy and like really have conversations and be open with their therapist, like that is huge, because that was not happening before at all. And
choose a therapist.
How do you choose a therapist? So I think for number one, for people to understand that your therapy journey is your journey. So when you even find someone and you meet them and you say, nah, this isn't a person for me, you're not going to hurt their feelings. You say, I'm sorry, you're not exactly what I'm looking for. Do you mind helping me find somebody else? So that's number one. Two, depending on what the issue that you're having, when you look for therapists, and you can go to, it's called www.psychologytoday.com. So if you go there, you can actually filter like the issue. So you can say couples, individual, it could be sex, it could be drugs. Whatever your issues are, anxiety, depression, and you're going to click it, and it's going to show you every therapist in the state that specializes in that. So you do want to make sure that you look for the topic, you look for insurance. Some people will take your insurance, some don't. Race, if it matters to you, gender, if it matters. Some people want a Black therapist. Some people want a white therapist. Some people want a male. Some people want a female. Old, young, it doesn't matter, because then we pop up. And then you can read our bios. And as you're reading the bio, then you're able, it's like something just speaks to you, and then you're able to say, you know what, I'm going to put it down to like 2 or 3. And then you put it down to 2 or 3. What I did was I emailed all 3 of them. And the first person that got back to me, I met with her and I was like, yeah, I like her.
What was that website again?
www.psychologytoday.com. And it will give you every therapist in the state. That's pretty cool.
That's good. Is it me?
Huh?
It's me?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a connection between religion and mental health?
I would say so. And depends on, let me say this. It depends on if you choose that, right? So for some people who don't want to mix the two, then you really would just be going straight towards what we call evidence-based therapies, right? And so you wouldn't put it in that. But for people that do have faith or believe in God, or so when you're talking about religion, that could be different religions, but for me, it's right. Christianity. So if you believe in God, then I will have people that will come and they will say, I want Christian counseling. And so we actually can take the Bible and actually put the Bible with what we've learned in school. And it's so interesting when you read the Bible, it literally lines with most of the things that we teach. Right. So I think it's James, I think it's 1:19, but it's like, be quick to listen, slow to anger, quick to wrath. Yeah, I think that's what it is. But what we teach is stop, breathe, listen, feel, respond. It's the same thing.
Say it one more time, stuff. Just one. Say it one more time.
But it's the same
No,
thing.
for real. Let's say it one more time.
It is. It's stop, listen. What I say? Stop, listen, feel, respond.
Yeah.
Yes. But that's what we do, right? Mm-hmm. That's what we teach. When we do affirmations, you can actually say, what does the Bible say about me? Because that's the truth. So if I say affirmations, when I go into my office, if you ever come into my office, I have 4 pages on my wall, and I have 2 pages of I ams. And I read those in the morning, because what does God say about me? And those are my affirmations. So I am this. I am beautifully made. I am made in his image. And because that's my truth. So with faith, if my faith is my truth, then I can take the Bible and I can stand on that. And I can actually use that, though, also in therapy. So you have some people that want to intertwine Christian counseling. They intertwine it in their marriage counseling. That's interesting a lot of times, because a lot of times when you do that, and you do look at what the world says sometimes versus what the Bible says. And it's like, oh, is this what the Bible says? And understanding that sometimes what we're taught in church is actually not fully what the Bible says. So when you keep reading, it's like, oh, they just took that verse and said we had to do that. But the Bible also says the husband is supposed to love the woman like the church, like God loved the church. So how did God love the church? Well, that's what I'm supposed to do, not just my wife saying, yes, honey, whatever you want me to do is what I'm going to do.
Mhm.
That's not the only thing that the
See
Bible
that
says.
double team. See,
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
That's good.
You have to know for yourself, but you can
True.
intertwine it. You know?
Anything else you want to chime on that? Before? Okay. With the information and understanding you have about mental health now, what would you have told yourself at 16, 21, and 30?
At 16, I would have, and I wish I knew at 16 that I could choose my therapist or I had choice. So I did have to when I was younger because I had my own trauma as a child. And my mom tried to put me in therapy. And I went and it was, I'll never forget, it was this older white lady. She had like this, I remember clear as day. She had this long blue jean skirt. And we just sat there and I was just like, this woman ain't gonna get me. I mean, she was like 60 something years old. Like, I mean, I literally, and I left out of there and I was like, I'm good. And my mom, not knowing any better, was like, okay. And that was that. So I never got help then. So at 16, I wish I would have known that I could say that I have power to choose. So I wish I had known that. At 21, I was in college, getting out of college. But I do wish at that time I had known that therapy again was an option. Because when I did it as a teenager, my mom took me. But when I was 21 as an adult, I also didn't realize that so many things had still affected me. And I didn't know how to even look for a therapist. And at that time, I actually was a social worker. But how am I as a social worker going to actually need a therapist? Because it still wasn't cool then. That was 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I still could figure it out on my own. I was strong. I was independent. I knew all the things. I was in church. So if I'm doing what God says, then I got to be okay. All I got to do is pray and everything's going to work out. But I didn't know. What's the last age?
30.
Oh, 30. I feel like life changed at 30. I feel like I might have been in therapy at 30. No, at 30, I think you know what? At 30, I would have said, take it seriously. I would have said, take it seriously at 30 and really start working on the changes of who you want to be and really figuring that out. Because at 30, for me, I had lost a lot of sense of self because that was when I'm now parent, I'm wife. So we going all the football practices, we doing everything but what I needed to do for me. So at 30, I definitely would advise myself to start finding who I was and make myself a priority and not lose sight of me and my marriage. So that would have been my advice to myself because kids at that time in my life were definitely the priority. And they came before everything.
Mm-hmm.
Which we all do, huh?
True story.
We do.
So I got one more.
What's my last question?
One more. How can you tell when a couple is truly working toward healing their marriage versus just learning how to coexist and dysfunction more peaceful?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Good question. Ooh, that was good. Okay. So one you see change. Okay. Right? And it's not surface change, right? It's I really understand you, I know you, and I'm changing for myself so we can be better people, right? So when we talk about healing, I'm healing myself first. So if you tell me that I'm not a good communicator, then that means that I need to go back and really look and say, okay, well, can I actually communicate well? What are the issues that I have in communication? Then I'm going to work on me, myself. And so then what happens is we're in a conversation and you like, wait a minute, we didn't argue? Like we didn't fuss? And then now, because I noticed that you're actually making the changes on your own, I'm going to start trusting you. And because I trust you, I can be more vulnerable. And now we can actually connect because this is real to you. This is serious. But surface level is when I'm just going to do it because you're telling me to do it. And what happens is that's conditional. So that means as long as you're doing what you're supposed to do, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. But then the next time we get into an argument and you went back to your old ways, I'm going to go back to mine. So now the truth is, we really didn't heal.
Really?
What? I didn't say nothing.
You turn and look at the camera like.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
But we all do it. We all do it.
Yeah.
You know, and healing is doing the hard work. Like that's just really getting into like the nitty gritty. I say like doing surgery. Like what are our issues? And you got to be so vulnerable. And it's hard to be vulnerable because it's hard for somebody to tell you about yourself. And I've been there where my husband had to tell me about myself. And I was like, me? Like, perfect scar? Me? Like, yeah. And I had to make change. And I had to really work on it so that way we would be better. So I would say that's how you know the difference, because it's if that person changes on their own to be better, then the change will stay consistent and it won't be based on condition.
Yeah.
If I change surface level and I'm just doing it just because you said, then it's based off of condition.
Right on. Right on, sister.
Okay. Carry on. Carry on.
Do you have anything else that you want to share about mental health?
No, I just, you know what, just take care of your mental health. You know, I just really, we are in a world of everybody's moving, everybody's going. You know, it's that time of, again, let's get that money, let's do this, let's, you know, we doing all these 15,000 things and diversifying income, but you got to take care of you first. So make sure that you have your moments, your time, whatever that looks like for you. For me, I'll tell you, I go 3 times a week. In the morning, I go by the river, like what is it, downtown, the water.
Mm-hmm.
So if you ever driving like 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock, and you see me, I be praying on the dock. Me and George, it's an alligator that swims through there. But that's where I go, and I read my Bible and all the things, but I do it on the dock 3 days a week in the morning. That's my time. So you just got to figure out what works for you. Take care of your mental health.
So are you
all right.
Are you still accepting clients, or are you?
We are. I say we because my group practice is. I am accepting clients, but I am working more with couples now. And so right now I'm accepting more couples than anything. But my therapists are accepting children, individuals. We're accepting.
If somebody would like to reach out to you, how would they go about doing so?
They can go to www.withoutlimitscounseling.com, or they can call 910-218-0006. And we do service couples in Florida, Virginia, and North Carolina.
I see you posted that you practice in Florida now.
Florida too?
Yes, yeah.
See?
And I'm also a coach. So because I coach, I can do coaching in any state. But as far as therapy goes, I'm licensed in those 3 states.
Okay.
Yep.
Now we have reached my favorite portion of the show.
Thank you, Star.
You're welcome.
I was gonna get to that.
Okay. I'm just thinking.
Yeah, you are.
That's some good information.
True.
And there's somebody out there that's going to need her.
Yeah.
So
let's get to your favorite part of the show, top 5.
Top 5. Star.
Top 5.
Athlete. Let's talk about that track career that you had.
Top 5. So I ran at East Carolina University, and it was cut short because I was being fast. Not on the track, off the track. Yeah, got pregnant.
Okay.
Got pregnant, you know. But I did have a track scholarship at ECU. I did run 4 years. And it was amazing. I was a hurdler and a triple jumper and then jack of all trades. So if they needed me to run a 200, I was doing a 200. If it was a 400, it was a 400.
You still running?
Absolutely not. I do walk.
So this top 5 is going to be female athletes. You want to go first or you want me to
I'll go first.
All right.
All right. So my number 1 is a local great. So it is Jackie Humphrey. She was actually a 100-meter hurdler, and she went to the Olympics. She did not place, but she went to the Olympics, and she is in the Hall of Fame here at in Country Club in Jacksonville. But Jackie Humphrey, to me, showed that regardless of where we come from, we can be there, and so to me, she was my number one. My number two was Lisa Leslie. Because actually I met her. She was so nice. But I just love Lisa Leslie, basketball anyway. So that was my thing. Allison Felix is one, and that was because one, obviously she's an Olympic track runner, but at the same time she ran pregnant, and she just kind of showed that women we can do all things. We can do it. Flojo, she secretly ran pregnant because she was scared she was going to lose her sponsorship. Flojo, because she just broke all barriers. And then lastly, I couldn't really split them up, but I was going with Venus and Serena. But you can't really split them up. But like, you can't have the top 5 without them on it, because they are just the GOAT of breaking all barriers. And so I kind of had a 5.5.
Real quick. You know who Flojo is?
I do, actually. Don't do that. Because I do. Don't do that.
Tell us who that is.
Carry on.
What she do? Okay.
I'm trying to play her.
Hey, don't come
every week. Every week he tried to call me out.
My 5. You got your 5?
No, I didn't.
Wow. Okay. So my 5, we got Layla Ali, boxer, of course. One of the greats. Sha'Carri Richardson, can't leave her off the list.
I like her penis.
We got Dawn Staley, obvious reason. Obvious. Dawn Staley. You don't know who that is.
The coach, South Carolina.
Women's
basketball.
Yeah.
And she played, though.
Okay. I don't follow, but okay.
Yeah. But you get mad at me. Venus and Serena.
You want to talk football?
Of course. And then last on the list, this is local, somebody down from Charleston. It's going to be TK King. She was the first female quarterback I had ever seen play football.
Wow.
And you got that, this was back 95, 96. Not all this they got going on now, but yeah. Back when it was really a boy sport.
I'm on the fence with that Sha'Carri one, but
why?
Because I love her to pieces, but top 5?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that she's
female. I mean, yeah, she definitely.
I like her though. I love her to pieces.
I spread my list out. Your list.
Maybe 10.
Yeah, you said at least 11. You was thinking like.
I'm just saying. I mean, you said all time. I mean, yeah. I mean, because they broke barriers. Like they was.
Lady Jackie Humphrey, she's still around. Or?
She comes back to visit. Okay. She's actually related to Shantae Cooks, their family, with her aunt. So,
really?
Yeah.
Shantae seemed to get plugged every week up there for stuff.
It's good.
Every week.
It's good.
Yeah.
You want to tell us any funny stories about Miss Cooks for?
Oh my God.
Mind you, Miss Cooks and her have been best friends for how long?
We have been best friends since the 9th grade. So that is what, 30 years?
And best friends. That's a definite.
We have been best friends for 30 years.
It's funny to get them together.
Yeah, I mean,
give me one.
She's just
counting it down.
Oh gosh, I don't know. I mean, she's just bossy. Like,
you thought I was lying when I said that. That's what Shantae keeps her.
Yeah, she's bossy. If you did not know that we were friends,
I told you.
Yeah, I can't tell the real story because she'll she got kids that be
watching
school. Yeah, they I can't put a business out like that, but I will say that she can be bossy and in charge.
Behind the scenes.
When did Corey come back?
He was back. He came back and then he just left again. So he's, I'm in that place of, he got his apartment and, so we in that place of him just kind of feeling as being an adult. He about to be 20 this week.
You got him on Life 360?
May 31st.
Do you have him on Life 360?
Absolutely.
He's 20 years old, so.
Mm-hmm. He'll be 20 on May 31st.
But at what point?
Because it's for safety. It's not for me to know where he's at. I don't really care where he's at. But
so if he get out of that quadrant, are you calling?
No.
Oh, okay. You hear that, right?
The only way I'll call him, and the only way I have called him before, is if his car is like stuck in the middle of the road for a long period of time, and I'll be like, "Hey, where you at?" And he'd be like, "Oh, no, my phone was low. I'm actually at home." Okay, cool. He don't care.
Once again, episode 10. Click, like, share, subscribe. Locked in love.
Locked in love.
Locked
Thank
in
y'all for
love.
having Miss Star.